Today, we're taking a look at another set of loadouts for you to try out in Warzone Season 4, but with this one, we're taking a look at the weaponry that's chosen that produces the highest KDs. Some weapons are meta, some may surprise you, so as we go along, drop your thoughts below. Is there any weapon in particular that does surprise you out of this list, and how's your KD looking in Warzone as of lately? Drop your thoughts below, but if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on the video, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Warzone and anything Call of Duty related. Especially when it comes to the news side of things, we're gearing up for more Modern Warfare 2 content in the coming months, so make sure you stay here for all of that. And finally, make sure you check out all the action over at the Call of Duty League Major 4 going on right now. Some great matches have already happened, even more upcoming, but more on that in just a little bit. So firstly, where are these data points sourced? The discussed weaponry comes from Warzone Ranked or WZRanked.com, a site that analyzes data points and specific values from the COD API. So if you were to go and look today alone, it's mentioned they've analyzed over 1,383,398 loadouts as of recording this video earlier in the day, just this intro part. By the time that you were to check, that number is bound to be higher. So we're not talking like a sample size of I asked 20 of my friends what their KD was like and things like that. There's a ton more to it. So let's start with number 10, because for the first time in a while, this actually is a linear structured video, one that does use a definitive 1 to 10 ranking system. Number 10, we're starting out with the Armaguerra. This ends up having an average KD of 1.06. A fair note, if you were to check this for yourself, it is quite possible that the Type 100 jumps into the top 10 spot here at this, just because that also has a 1.06 KD, battling back and forth for that number 10 spot between the two. But the Armaguerra is a weapon that has been a lot of fun to play with as of lately, and of course, with its rapid fire rate, it makes it a force to be reckoned with. For this, I'd recommend the recoil booster, the 570mm barrel. I personally like the MMSC optic, that being the iron sight. The slate reflector is perfectly fine. You get a little bit more ADS speed with that iron sight, but it's very minimal. The folding stock, the skeletal underbarrel, the 9mm 60 round magazine, lengthened, the taped grip, hard scope, and quick. We've talked about that one plenty of times here on the channel, so check it out if you guys have not done so already. The UGM-8 is another weapon that has an average KD of 1.06 and is our number 9 spot here today. The UGM is one we've talked about beforehand, where it absolutely is that powerhouse, gives a little bit more power to that LMG category, where we haven't really seen anything outside of the Bren for quite some time. So for this, I'd recommend the MX Silencer. Personally, I'm still liking the 736mm barrel over the burst barrel, the 2.5 times optic, the Mercier WT stock, the hand stop, the 125 round Sakura magazine, lengthened, stippled grip or polymer grip, tight grip, and fully loaded to finish off that build. Next up, one that kind of surprised me as of lately to see it jump into the top 10 here is that of the KGM-40, but truth be told, I'm having a blast with this thing. I didn't really use it a whole ton before starting to get footage here for this video, but it absolutely has its place in this top 10, and I'd maybe say it now moves up in my rankings, at least for my own personal meta. I'd say it has a place in the regular top 10 meta here for Warzone right now. It feels a little bit weaker than some of the other rifles out there right now, but honestly, if the NZ were to be nerfed into the ground or just completely taken out of the game today, I think this would be a great replacement here for it. For the KGM, I'd run the MX Silencer, the Reisdorf 720mm shrouded barrel, the 2.5 times optic, the Krosnick 12V stock, the hand stop, the 8mm Klauser 60 round magazine, lengthened, polymer grip, tight grip, and fully loaded. Honestly, it's a great weapon for control, still packs a decent punch with that fire rate, but overall, pretty solid. I would honestly say I would run Amped. I was running Combat Scout, playing a little toxic myself, admittedly, but I would highly recommend Amped, or at the very least, putting on the taped grip, because if you swap from your primary to your secondary, it is a very slow swap speed by comparison to some weapons that we see in the game currently. That's the only real downside I think here to this, but honestly, great weapon, a lot of fun to play around with. After that, at number 7, we have the Bar, a weapon we've talked about beforehand, and still absolutely packs a punch. This one, I'd say, is probably one of the easier to control builds when you kit it for recoil control, and also the damage potential is absolutely up there. You just sacrifice a little bit in that fire rate because of those other two factors. For this build, I'd recommend what we've discussed before, the MX Silencer, the 30-inch XL barrel, the 2.5 times optic, the Chariot WR stock, the hand stop, the Klauser 40 round magazine, lengthened, polymer grip, hard scope, and fully loaded. Before we jump into the rest of the top 10 and the rest of the builds here, thanks to the Call of Duty League for sponsoring this video. Major 4 going on right now. We've already seen some insane twists and turns. As of recording this segment, LA dropped Atlanta FaZe into loser's bracket, where Paris almost took them the distance. They went 5 maps before ultimately dropping to Atlanta. The Subliners reverse swept the Rocker. The LA Gorillas sent the London Royal Ravens, the number 3 seed on the entire season, number 1 for qualifier going into this major, home to keep their playoff hopes alive. And by the time this video goes live, there's bound to be even more twists and more exciting points to come. Playoff seeding is on the line, and it's do or die. The difference between a spot in playoffs at the number 7 seed and not making it all at the number 10 seed, only 10 CDL points. And from 5th to 10th, that's only a differential of 30 points. Every single match counts, and just about every team is still mathematically in contention. It's just a matter of who shows up and clutches up. You for sure won't want to miss any of the action, and with tickets still available to the major, you can pick up single day or full event passes. There's something special about seeing the competition live and in person, but if you can't make it, make sure to connect your Call of Duty and YouTube accounts so that you can take advantage of all the streamed viewership rewards, including the exclusive Collecting Fair bar blueprint, one of 3 exclusives we've seen throughout the year already. Have you got them all? Regardless, for some, the entire season is on the line, but for all, the chase for glory continues. Who's taking the major this weekend and who comes out for playoffs? Only time will tell, but the journey looks to be incredible, so don't miss it, and I'll see you in the chat. Next, at number 6 is one that I didn't really consider all that much, but I guess it makes sense when you get down to it, because it does encompass an entire playstyle that we don't really talk too much on as of lately anymore in Warzone. In the Modern Warfare 2018 and Black Ops Cold War Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, I sniped a lot, but haven't really done so since Vanguard dropped. That being the 3-line sniper rifle with an average KD of 1.12. Now, this one was a lot of fun. Honestly, I really liked going back and sniping again. After having not done it for so long, it was definitely a nice deviation to go back and consciously change up my playstyle to kind of play aggressive with a sniper, but also you got to play a little bit more passively naturally. I mean, you have a one-shot weapon at that point. But anyways, for this, I'd recommend the Mercury Silencer, the Empress 514mm barrel. I didn't take an optic. I took the default sniper scope. I know a lot of people will either run the 4 to 8 times scope or the 3 to 6. But personally, I liked that default scope, and I ended up having, I think it was the ranged horizon reticle. That one always felt good within Vanguard, and it transferred over into Warzone nicely. Then I'll run the custom MZ stock, the SMLE pistol grip, so you can end up having a little bit more ADS speed and sprint to fire speed, trying to play a little bit more aggressive with that, as opposed to just sitting back and sniping. Then I ended up taking the fast mags, simply because you don't want to sacrifice any damage of the 303 rounds, and the 30-06. While that offers damage, I didn't really want to sacrifice any fire rate, movement speed, or ADS speed. Then I took the leather grip for the ADS speed bonus, silent focus for the aiming stability, and fully loaded to, of course, have max ammo. After that, one that really surprised me, but again, I guess kind of makes sense, would not be my first choice by any means, but surprisingly, the combat shield is number 5 with an average KD of 1.15. And well, for this, we can't really put any loadouts because there's no attachments that goes along with it, but the combat shield, number 5 here, kind of rounding us into the top half of this top 10. Number 4, another sniper here made the list, that being the ZRG 20mm with an average KD of 1.19. This makes sense to me. It's one of your one-shot sniper rifles. With the sniper nerfs a few updates back, a lot of the snipers lost their one-shot potential outside of a certain range. The ZRG was not one of those. It retained that one-shot potential, so it's a powerful sniper. For that, I'd recommend the sound moderator, the combat recon barrel, the SWAT 5mm laser, the Royal and Cross 6x optic, and the airborne elastic grip, though you can end up using the bruiser grip for a little bit more mobility if you don't really care about the actual optic you're using. You can use the regular default sniper scope, but entirely up to you. Now, at number 3, 2, and 1, this is where it may start to sound familiar. Number 3, we have the Marco 5 with an average KD going up of 1.22 for those that end up using it. The Marco, of course, being one of the newer introductions here, but is still a phenomenal choice at that. For this, I'd recommend that recoil booster, the body 250mm barrel, the slate reflector, the Perfetto Asada stock, the 1941 hand stop, the Nambu 60-round magazine, lengthened, tape grip, gung-ho, and quick. Again, we've talked about this and the next two quite a bit, so we'll breeze past those. Number 2 on this top 10 KD list is the NZ41 with an average KD, again, continuing to go up by quite a bit, of 1.30. Now, this is actually something that, while it might not be number 1 and it may surprise you in that regard, a fair consolation prize here for number 2, though, is that it's by far the most picked weapon. With a 15.69% pick rate of all loadouts, the NZ is by far the most picked and most common weapon within the Warzone. Now, for this, of course, we'd recommend the MX Silencer, the Orb Weaver 360mm barrel, the 2.5 times optic, the Orb Weaver E-Pack stock, the 1941 hand stop, the Sakura 50 round magazine, lengthened, polymer grip, frenzy, and fully loaded. Now, number 1, I was not expecting this to run away with it so much. I was expecting it to be like 1 to 3 in terms of top KDs, but number 1 is the H4 Blixen with a staggering average KD of 1.71. So we go from 1.22, 1.3 to 1.71 in those top 3 placements. The Blixen, obviously a great weapon, one that packs a punch, one that is still a lot of fun to work with, very good mobility, good stopping power. You got the whole package essentially in an SMG. For this, I'd recommend the recoil booster, either the 9-inch RMK barrel or the 17-inch F3 barrel, the slate reflector, the remove stock, the hand stop, the Grenko 54 round magazine, lengthened, tape gripped, fleet, and quick. Now, I will say that that is something that is more so overall. If we want to go for more map-specific variations here, there are a couple of deviations with Fortune's Keep as well as Rebirth Island. On Fortune's Keep, you'll see the Modern Warfare crossbow in there with a 1.04 average KD. The recent buff to the bullet velocity made this something that's actually pretty nuts if you're accurate. With the explosive rounds, it's a guaranteed one hit down at that point. You break armor on the impact and then down them with the explosion. The C58 is also there with an average of 1.03, as is the AS44 with an average of 1.02. Rebirth Island, we end up seeing the EM2 from Cold War at an average of 1.06, and the AUG from Cold War with an average of 1.01. So you definitely have your options here, but there's a lot of good choices out there. That said, that is the top 10 plus KD weapons here within Warzone of Season 4, so drop your thoughts below. Do you guys use any of these? What's your KD looking like? And anything in between. But for now, that's what we're gonna call it. So if you guys enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on the video, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing running all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone, and anything COD related. For now though, see how your KD stacks up using some of these builds and see if you can exceed them for yourself. Hope you guys get some high kill games, but until next time, take care and peace.